Welcome to Step Into Your Story. I'm Carla Goldberg, and this is a place to breathe, listen inward, and step into the story your soul is guiding you toward. I've been doing a series on the podcast about community. And if we go back to episode 6, just to give a review real quick, I talked about sacred geometry and community and how they are tied together. Then in episode 7, I talked about how community impacts your spiritual growth. And in 8, we discussed how community helps you grow, not make you small. And today, we're going to be talking about the role listening plays within your spiritual community. And I often talk about needing to have your voice and not make yourself look small, all those things. But part of your voice and owning that and learning how to use it is about when to use that voice. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about today in terms of listening and what does listening look like. So as we open this space, I want you to feel grounded in one truth, that you belong in this conversation exactly as you are. We are all growing and learning. If you need to listen more or be heard more, you are enough. We are all in process. No one came to earth perfect. So we need to let that concept go. It does not exist. You cannot develop into perfection. It is a recipe for failure. This episode isn't about judgment. It's about refinement. You don't have to leap in. Just lean in a little more. You're not being judged. You're being witnessed. Let your breath settle. Let your heart soften. You're safe to grow here. All right, let's have everyone take a big breath in and blow it out. And just sink into the body. And let's get started. An important thing you need to know, you don't have to get this perfect. You don't have to do special things. All you have to do is just be in this space and listen to this podcast. All right? So when we're listening, it softens the relational field. The people around us soften. The energy relaxes. When we're listening, walls that are up, even if they're subtle, start to dissolve and fade. It opens up our heart space so we can listen and really connect with people. It'll create safety and deepens mutual respect with those we're having our conversations with. And it strengthens trust at a soul level, which is huge. And also, we help co-regulate each other. Just like when everyone's anxious, you can feel that energy and it goes up and up and up. And when we're calm, we can bring everybody down. So there's a lot that happens in community with listening, because when we're listening, we're not talking. And we're going to talk about how to actually listen and be present. Listening changes the body, the breath, the emotional tone between individuals. Growth doesn't require force. It just needs presence. All you have to do is be. You don't have to, I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen really intently. It doesn't work that way, because then we start like obsessing about things, and that's not being present. As connection deepens, something magical happens. Authenticity begins to rise. We feel safe. The truth inside us starts to emerge because it has room to breathe. We've given it that space that it needs. When we're authentic, the inner voice gets louder. We can hear our intuition. We're tapping in better. And stories emerge naturally. Vulnerability is welcomed. When we're listening to others, vulnerability comes out. And that's when we can be authentic. That's when we can really share what's happening in our lives and we feel connected. Self-expression becomes effortless. You don't have to plan your self-expression. Some of us introverts are like, okay, I have to plan to be more vocal with this person. Extroverts don't have that problem. Extroverts might need some extra help listening, right? Because that's just, we're all different, okay? We all have things and challenges we have to go through, and that's part of being human, and that's part of life. Listening invites people to show up as their real selves, not the polished versions, not the ones we show up to work at on Monday, not, when we're going through stuff, we put on a face that makes us look not cray cray as we go to the grocery store. It's not the defended version of ourselves. It's the authentic version. And when authenticity is welcomed, the whole field shift, the whole community can shift. The vibration of a group changes when people feel honored for who they truly are, because then they can be themselves. So we need to be listening within community. And a lot of times in the spiritual community, it's, I'll send you just love and light and everything will be fine. I'm not saying we don't send people love and light, but there's a piece to just honoring someone and just listening when they're being challenged, when they just need to say something. It's okay to do that. We don't have to respond. We don't have to fix things. Listening elevates the collective vibration. You're held as you are and supported as you rise. That's what true community is about. We hold you as you are, and you're supported as you rise. Honoring raises the frequency when we honor and listen to what people are saying. The group energy harmonizes and the collective heart can feel it. And there's a je ne sais quoi, right? A something that's beyond words that connects, and people feel it and they are part of it and they want more of it. Because we all want to just be who we are. But to have that happen, we have to stop talking. I recognize the irony. I'm on a podcast and I'm saying stop talking. We have to stop talking. We have to listen. We have to tune in. And as humans, we're not used to doing that, especially in Western culture. When authenticity is welcomed, the whole room, the whole community, the people around you can shift because we can feel it in the room. And people are allowed to be themselves. They don't have to hide. And I want you to know, if you're having challenging listening to this right now, I am here and we're going to listen together, and I've created space. Okay. So just take a breath in and let it out, and just honor the space you are in. Group energy harmonizes. And we've all been in those places where someone can come into a room and that whole energy shifts, right? It happens, whether it's good or bad, right? Because we have people like so bubbly, you're like, yeah, they're here. And it gives all of us energy. And then we have other people come in the room and like, oh, and you can feel that they're burdened. But oftentimes they can't express that because they're not safe and they are not being honored. It doesn't mean you have to deal with it right then and there. I'm just letting you be aware of what happens when those people with that negative stuff come in the room. They have stuff they need to unload, but they probably don't have anyone they can feel safe talking to. Listening invites people to show up as their real, authentic selves, not the polished versions, not the defended versions, the ones we pretend to be all stoic. No, they show up as our messy selves. Humans are messy, right? If you're not showing some of your messiness, you're not being authentic. And I'm not saying you have to be authentic 100% of the time, because we have different groups that we are associated with and come in contact with that maybe that's not safe. You might be in a work environment that it's not safe to be authentic because they can't wait to fire the next person. Or maybe you're in a relationship that you cannot be authentic because you are not safe. So what I'm trying to do is talk about how do we develop a safe community where we can grow spiritually and be authentic, because that's what we need. We need to be able to be ourselves, because when we're ourselves, that's when the magic happens. But for people to be themselves, we have to stop talking. We have to listen to what they're saying, because listening is the beginning of transformation. We come to Earth to work with our soul family to be transformed. Part of that is letting them mirror what we are doing so we can grow. That involves listening, because there's going to be people in your life who drive you nuts, and they are just mirroring you back to you. That thing that's driving you crazy that they do, that is a mirror that there's something in you that you need to work on tied to that. It may not be a direct correlation, but there is something there calling you. And to hear that, we have to stop talking long enough to listen. And I mean, truly listen. I mean, being present. I mean, thinking about what they're saying. I'm talking about, even if you don't know what to say, just say, tell me more about blah, blah, blah. Because you have to let them have their say, their truth. Even if you don't have to agree with it. It's not about agreeing. It's creating the space so they can verbalize and you can learn. Here's a story to illustrate what I'm talking about. My daughter she's a manifesting generator, and she just has so much energy. If you're into human design, that's what a manifesting generator, you can look that up, human design. And she has so much energy, and I am not like that. I'm a projector, and her energy, I have to be careful because she just comes with so much energy. It's overwhelming for me often, and I start putting up walls because it's just too much. But what I've learned slowly, I should say, what I'm still learning is how to not get overwhelmed, how to just sit, listen. Because a lot of times she's got so much energy and she's so passionate about all kinds of things. But when she's passionate and she's got all this energy, she needs to often talk it through. And after she talks it through and has it verbally out of her system, she can settle down. And my problem is I always try and fix it, because I've always been a fixer, and I'm working on not trying to fix things and just letting them be, because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. There's a different part of my development that I need to work on. So I'm working on not fixing things. So she'll come to me and, sharing frustration about something, and my immediate instinct is to try and fix it and give her advice and tell her what to do. But what I've learned, that's not what she needs. That is not what she needs. She needs just to be able to verbalize it and get it out. And my role is to listen. Because usually by the time I let her go through the conversation, at the end, she finds the answer to what she was looking for all on her own. I didn't have to do anything except keep my mouth shut, which is hard for me when people come to me with problems, because I'm a really good problem solver. And that was reinforced as I was growing up, that's a good thing. And that's what I should keep doing, because it's good to solve problems. That's the world I grew up in. So it's really hard not to step in. But by her talking and me listening and providing a safe space for her to do so, the clarity emerges within her. It's so much better to have the other person come up with the clarity on their own than for you to bring it out of your mouth. That is amazing. Stop stealing other people's learning experiences by talking. This is a hard lesson, I know. Some of you are like, I don't like this. I'm ready to go to the next episode, or just skip this and maybe not listen to you again. And that's okay. If you're being triggered, there's a reason, right? So listening can become medicine, because when we're listening and we're authentic and creating a safe space, people can have the safety they need to talk it through. Let's talk about what it feels like in the body to be listening. And I'm talking about things like posture, breath, being present to create that environment so others can feel safe to talk. And so physically, our eyes are soft. Our chest is open. We're relaxed. We're not all intense and leaning forward and eyebrows all squinched together. No, we're relaxed. We're grounded. We have a steady presence. We're not like scattering, thinking about the grocery list, and then I have to go over here. I got to do that errand. No, we are receiving without reacting. That's what listening is. Receiving without reacting. Letting the silence hold. It's okay to have emptiness while we're listening. We don't have to constantly talk. Presence is your offering. Just being present helps the other person talk and helps you listen. And we're not thinking about what we're going to say next, how we're going to guide them, or tell them, oh, that reminds me of a story that happened to me. No, stop. That is not listening. That is thinking about you. When you're listening, you're thinking about what the person is going through. You're thinking about their experience from their perspective, not your perspective. You are tapping into them. And this is why if we listen more to others, our spiritual communities are going to grow so much because we create a place where people feel heard. In our society, there are not a lot of places where people feel heard. And if you do, it's for a snippet of time. And it feels so magical in that moment. But we don't have enough of those. We have too many conversations where we're cut off, right? Like you're almost done with your sentence and they cut you off. That to me tells me, okay, this person is not listening and this conversation is over and I'm going to go. That's how I feel in the moment when that happens to me. So as you hear this, notice what's stirring inside you. Listening isn't just something we offer others. It's a practice that reshapes us from inside. We literally change by listening. So let's talk about, here are some ways that you can feel present in the moment. And first of all, there has to be a choice. You have to choose to be present. You have to put down your phone. You have to look into their eyes. You have to try and think about where they're coming from, not what you have to do next, not what you would do, not what you should have done, not what your friend's brother's sister's dog did that was similar. You have to just stop. Just stop. Take a breath. Ground yourself and listen to them. It's going to create an amazing connection and help your community grow, whether it's a spiritual community or just your normal everyday work or home or family community. Let yourself be curious about what I've talked about today. To bring this to a level that you can incorporate into your life, I developed this technique called the 111 technique. And it stands for one person, one moment, 1 week. And what this is basically you're going to pick one person you deal with on a daily basis, whether it's a family member, coworker, friend, that you pretty much see at least every day. And out of that day, you're going to pick one moment that you're really going to focus and listen to what they say. And you're going to do that for 1 week. So it's one person, one moment a day for 1 week. And you can do that. One conversation a day. You got this. But I really want you to focus on what is shifting in you. What are you feeling? What are you noticing? And really, when you're picking that one conversation, really lean into the listening and what that feels like. And it doesn't have to be a deep conversation. It can be like, did you feed the cat? Okay. It can be something simple, but really listen to them and what is challenging about it. And take what resonates with you and let it open something gentle inside you and have that be a piece that you can work on and improve on. So as we close, stay with what opened with you today. Stay with that, ooh, that felt uncomfortable. Ooh, that felt too close to home. Or I need to lean into that. That softening, the clarity, the places that asked more listening, that's what I want you to lean into. Those are small truths rising. You're held as you are and supported as you rise. Your presence shapes the spaces you enter. So be aware of that. And the spaces that you are in, work on listening. Let this be a soft doorway into the next layer of spiritual community as it grows. And if this was helpful or you liked this episode, please give me a like, a rating, a review. Share this episode with a friend. And, just share it with them. You don't have to say why. Just zap it over to them. And it might spark a conversation because it'll be like, are you saying I don't listen to you? Which might be a good way to get some of that conversation going either way. So until next time, walk gently, listen closely, and keep stepping into your story.